And you've got, well, I mean, they have an interesting starting pitchers that are coming up. They've got Tyler Anderson, who has been playing great on the road. They've got Tyler Chatwood, who's another story that's great in the world. But Tyler Anderson had like a 3 ERA on the road. And then John Gray, who is one of the most phenomenal strikeout pitchers of this past year. But beyond that, when you look at that bullpen, there was not much to manage. I mean, you had Jake McGee, who they got in the offseason, but even he was just not that good at all. And they had Adam Ottavino in the back end of the bullpen, who, yes, he's an interesting option, but there really wasn't much there. Then second, we have Robin Ventura. Holy crap, that was a dumpster fire. I mean, as a former Met, you want to root for the guy. You think that he has it all together. But unfortunately, this is a guy from the beginning of the season, even the preseason, in the spring training, where it was destined to collapse. You had to see if this guy had the intangibles of a manager to keep this whole entire team front-centered and focused on the season. When you had the whole entire thing with Adam LaRoche and his whole entire son and the whole entire spring training, it's kind of devastating to think that, yes, that completely divided the whole entire clubhouse. And you got to see how mismanaged it was. How do you bring them back from the fold? You don't. What happens? You have Chris Sale, your number one ace, who is taking a damn knife. Where did the guy find a knife? That is poor management right there. That the guy could find a knife, cut up all the jerseys, and it's basically just, you know what, this is like Animal House inside this clubhouse. They had no control.
Let me just step in and talk about Robin Ventura's case. I just want to get my 2 cents in here. First of all, with Robin Ventura, the White Sox in general, right? They're sort of like a team. I don't mind them. I like them, honestly. I like them better than the Cubs. And maybe it's just because they don't win as often. They won in 2005. But, it just, I don't know. Sort of, they got off to a really hot start. There was a long stretch where they and the Chicago Cubs were both leading their respective divisions, and it was just the same city of Chicago. Now, obviously, there are more Cubs fans than White Sox fans. Sorry,
they've got Obama. The most important fan.
Obama's a fan. But here's the thing, though. Like you said, those clubhouse mishaps came up. And not only did the clubhouse mishaps came up, but also the pitching started to fall apart.
Well, no, the pitching was decent. I mean, you've got Chris Sale, who's phenomenal. Jose Quintana is one of the most underrated pitchers in all of baseball. And let me tell you, that's a name that you need to be putting right on the map right now. The next year, this guy is going to be at least top 10.
But here's the problem with the White Sox. It's just that I guess they just couldn't hold it together. And someone had to be the fall guy. And let me tell you something. Maybe this is just because I read this stuff online and stuff and see the comments, but White Sox fans did not like Robin Ventura at all.
Well, no one likes their manager.
Yeah.
Everyone finds fault to nitpick every single small decision, but in Robin Ventura's case, it was just a very amateurish type of manager. I mean, he was there for how long? He was actually there
for a long time.
4 or 5 years, I believe, at this point. And it was really, this was the year that was supposed to coalesce into one phenomenal run towards the postseason. You pick up Todd Frazier from the Cincinnati Reds, who's supposed to be a power bat, but the guy does hit the home runs. Average just plummets down. And next thing you've got looking at towards it, it's like you have Jose Abreu's absolutely down year. The only person that really produced out that whole entire offense was Adam Eaton.
Yeah, he's been good.
And beyond that, I mean, but you've got the this young gun, Tim Anderson, coming up, who's been pretty great at shortstop, actually. He was supposed to be a stolen base phenom, but he's been hitting solid home runs. I mean, beyond that, you just had a team that imploded and collapsed. Yeah. And you had the little assets that came together, but it just never fully pulled it together into a fine-oiled machine. It was kind of like the Mets. The Mets could have gone the same way. I mean, we could have just collapsed and fell apart, but kept pushing through. And that's what probably saved Terry's job, as you're pointing to before.
Yeah, and again, and I just want to talk about Walt Weiss also, is that, and that's why I found it strange that he was stepped down or whatever he...
Well, no. I mean, it was in the final year of a 3-year deal. So
I know, but it was his best year, and the Rockies... I know the Rockies didn't do well.
His last 3 years, his record combined has been 283 and 365.
It was promising.
That's like 8.39,
I didn't think he did a bad job, believe it or not, especially with what he's had. I don't know why I'm stepping up to the plate. I'm defending this guy. He stepped down. I don't know if he was informed he was going to get canned. Maybe he's going to do something in the organization. But, I mean, to be honest, it's Colorado. Who could manage that team?
Their offense is prodigious.
But their pitchers are always the problem.
This year they came back. Their pitchers, it's just that, yes, the environment definitely increases their ERA by at least 1 run. I'm guaranteeing that right now. But he had John Gray, who is like he's my number 3 actually rookie of the year. He
looked good.
And his strikeouts. I mean, against the Mets, I'm pretty sure he had a 12 strikeout game in 5 innings. But next beyond even him, you've got Tyler Chatwood and Tyler Anderson, who are very promising up-and-comers right now. But beyond that, you had a lineup that was ridiculously good. I mean, Trevor Story, like, who's a rookie, who had been rookie of the year, unless
he would have been.
I was at the game where his thumb, he freaking imploded right then against the Yankees, slid right into head first into second base. Beyond him, you had Carlos Gonzalez, who came back for a career year, hitting all these bombs, absolutely raking it the whole entire year. Well, in the first half, second half, cool out in a little bit. Then beyond that, you have. Beyond that, it really wasn't that good. But I mean, you had different interesting names like David Dahl, who came up, Corey Dickerson over from Tampa Bay, who actually was pretty decent, Charlie Blackmon, who might be in like the top 5, top 8, like of the whole entire NL MVP race.
Yeah,
I mean, they do have the parts there that, like, I would say it's probably slightly buried than the Mets offense.
You think it's close for them? Do you think they'll be good soon or no?
I would say, depending upon their signings this offseason, they could be 3 years away from contention.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, enough with the Rockies. What is this? All right, here we go. This is New York baseball, but I do want to talk. You brought it up. Rookie of the Year, all those awards. I think we should talk about that. This is big stuff. So
yeah, I mean, since we went down to the end of the wire, of course.
Yeah, so the season's over. So the awards are I don't know when they give the awards out, but the results are in almost, like now it's time to see. Now for Rookie of the Year, I have one guy in the National League. To be honest, I don't know about the American League, not off the top of my head. But the National League, wouldn't you give it to Corey Seager or no?
Oh, yeah. In the National League, it seems like a no-brainer.
Seems like he's a lock for me.
It's Corey Seager. I'm trying to think beyond that. I mean, you've got Kenta Maeda of the Dodgers, who maybe is an interesting idea, but his last outing on yesterday, the guy just imploded. Like, I'm talking about like 5 runs in 2 innings. And after that, it really pulls it back. I mean, Corey Seager, I need to pull up his stats. I mean, the kid was like, he's hit the most home runs of a rookie in forever.
Well, he's great. And you know what? It was either for him, honestly, for me, it was between him and Trevor Story, and then Trevor Story got hurt. Now it's Corey Seager.
Well, I mean, also, okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Corey Seager, 40 doubles. 40 doubles is absolutely insane. 26 home runs. I mean, when you're looking at these numbers together for a rookie, this is supposed to be an experienced veteran player that's your number 1 ace on the team, number 1 big bat that's supposed to be bopping. I mean, his strikeouts do worry me a little bit, but not over the top. And a 308 average and an OPS of 877, this kid just flat out rakes. Behind him, I could see that you can make a case for Trey Turner, actually, of the Nationals, but he hasn't had enough time to season up here.
I don't think he's had enough time.
He's got next year. I think this kid.
He's got a shot.
Next year he's vaulting to the next level of like becoming a premier force inside the National League.
Yeah, and believe me, this will not be the last time we mention him, especially because he's definitely going to be getting some playing time in the playoffs. And also, how about your AL pick? So you have no idea.
No, my AL pick, I think. I mean, there's someone who made a lot of noise towards the end of the year. Who came up, Gary Sanchez, but he didn't have enough time.
That's why
I mean, the fastest
can't put him
ever in Major League history to 20 home runs. Yes, that's phenomenal. But his batting average started dropping a little bit. I mean, unfortunately, he ended the season with a 2.98 average. But I mean, still, that's amazing. Going by 300 for a catcher of his size, I'd take that any day.
Are you still putting him in?
I'm not putting him at second. You know who I'm putting number 1?
Who?
Former Mets prospect Michael Fulmer, who was traded for Yoenis Cespedes and possibly was one of the most equal trades of all time. Yeah. Mike Fulmer, I know he started wearing down towards the end, but that's what happens when your previous high in career pitches, innings was like 139, and this year he pushed himself to 190. I mean, the kid, he was one inning away from qualifying for the ERA title, I'm pretty sure.
But
and at that point, he would have had a 3.06 ERA, 11 wins against 132 strikeouts. I mean, in 159 innings, that's really solid in this day and age. I'm deeply, deeply considering him. Another name that you might want to be considering is Tyler Naquin of the Cleveland Indians. After Michael Brantley went down with his shoulder injury, this kid showed that he could pick up the slack for someone who was in MVP voting 2 years ago. So, but in the end, I got to give this to my man Michael Fulmer. Because if you're talking about what these ideas of these awards, we're talking about what makes them the most valuable. And the Detroit Tigers were so close to going to the playoffs. They depended upon yesterday. Yesterday's game decided that they were out. Until that one last day of the season, he helped them vault into that.
Same with the Cardinals,
But these are our Rookie of the Years. Now, we move the discussion over to the Cy Youngs and the MVPs. Yep. But when considering these awards, we have to have this debate. First, what defines these awards? Is it individual-based? What defines the most valuable? If we're going based upon individual achievements, that means we just look at the whole entirety of that player's counting stats against his whole entire team. Do we discount the team? For the Cy Young, do we discount the defense behind them and all the other metrics? For the actual MVP, do we discount their position, their lineup, and who's hitting around them? Can they get more runs driven in? These are big questions to ask ourselves as we go looking for these names.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about with the do you want to start? Let's start with ERA. Let's start with ERA.
Wait, no. Do you want to wait? The AL or wait, what?
ERA.
Okay.
But for both. So for the NL, who do you got for the ERA?
You mean for the Cy Young?
Yeah, Cy Young. I'm sorry, Cy Young.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Well, for the National League is a very, very tight contest, and my top five. My top five, it's sad. My number 5, actually, I'm going to have to go with Jose Fernandez. Jose Fernandez, it's not only a sentimental pick, it's a phenomenal pick because this guy had 253 strikeouts and 182 innings pitched.
It's amazing.
His ERA was a 2.86. This guy crushed it at home. 16 wins as well. But in this modern day and era, I want to look past the wins themselves, actually, and look underneath the hood for players and their performances. There's a stat called FIP, which is Fielding Independent, which looks at basically if you take away all the players on the field besides the pitcher himself, how he controls the game. So it counts for home runs, strikeouts, and walks. His FIP was the second lowest behind, this guy named Clayton Kershaw. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah,
but
we have.
So
Nationals going to be facing him. So.
Yeah, right? So Fernandez would be my number 5. But then it gets really interesting in that top tier because there's names like Max Scherzer and John Lester that are household commodities, with Max Scherzer leading the whole entire league in strikeouts at 284 and 228 and a third. That's some sexy, sexy numbers right there. That's like a Ferrari boosting past a Prius right there. And our Prius is Bartolo Colon. Reliable, will get you there on time, and will definitely keep up with the mileage, baby. But John Lester, we turn our attention then over to the Cubs. The Cubs are one of the best defensive teams across all baseball. It is known this year. It is a straight-up fact written on the 10 Commandments that the Cubs had the best defense. And when you look at that, you start thinking about how their numbers could be skewed slightly. I mean, John Lester has a 2.44 ERA, and he was searching for win number 20. But his FIP, that stat that we measured for, is a 3.41 compared to, Noah Syndergaard's, which is a 2.28. Jose Fernandez, a 2.3, and Clayton Kershaw at 1.80 fielding independence.
Could I just tell you straight up my people who I think are going to win the Cy Young?
Yes, yeah, sure.
I just want to say it because I think I'm spot on. It's going to be Max Scherzer of the Nationals, and it's going to be Rick Porcello of the Boston Red Sox. For me, those
interesting.
are my guys.
I mean, Scherzer, it's interesting, but you know what? I'm going to have to agree with you on the Scherzer pick. I was going to go with, and I was leading to this, Kyle Hendricks. Before his start yesterday, he had an ERA actually underneath 2, which is insane, just insane. I mean, we saw with Zach Greinke last year, and that was just, it's never happened before. Even with Arrieta as well getting close to that. In the second half, he had a 1.89 ERA. The body of work over the whole entire season tells you Hendricks, yes, he might have been lucky because his strikeouts, his numbers aren't flashy on the peripherals. See, that's what it depends upon. What type of voter are you? Are you looking for the strikeouts and the wins? Then you're definitely looking for a Scherzer type. But if you're looking for someone who has a consistent body of work for the whole entire season, you got to go Hendricks. But then there's another interesting point that's brought up is how many innings qualify you to be considered for the Cy Young. This is one of the reasons why we have not seen relief pitchers since maybe even like Goose Gossage, I think, was the last one to win a Cy Young, where you have Kershaw. He only had 149 innings pitched, but I'm pretty sure he leads the whole entire league and wins above replacement.
Now, real quick, we're going to continue that thought, but we have to go to break, unfortunately. So we will be right back. So we will continue our Cy Young and all that other stuff coming up.
A museum is the best place to time travel. Make your next trip easier by joining the Gold Coast Library Museum Pass program. As a member, you can borrow a free admission pass for your family to local museums like the Cradle of Aviation Museum, the Long Island Children's Museum, and more. For more info, call 516-759-8300 or visit goldcoastlibrary.org. The Community Calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
It's homecoming weekend and the alumni are back all weekend long on WCWP. This is Pete Bellotti. Join me for a special Pioneers pregame show Saturday at noon. You'll hear from Coach Brian Collins, plus a few surprises along the way. Only on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
Do you ever hear a voice in your head saying, "You can't paint"? Not artistic? Not a problem. Come down to paint night on Wednesday, October 12th at 6:30 in the Westbury Memorial Public Library. Enjoy step-by-step instruction and leave with a work of art. There's a fee, so for more info, call 516-333-0176 or visit westburylibrary.org. The community calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
You're listening to Ace at the Plate.
All right, sorry we were interrupted there by the commercial break, but go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so we dished out our NL Cy Young little spiel there. We put out the stats for all of you. And based upon the stats, I'm going to have to go with Max Scherzer. Even though it's a tight race like last year, you can't go wrong between Scherzer, Lester, Hendricks, or even Kershaw for that matter. But now we bring our way over to the AL Cy Young. The AL Cy Young is very interesting this year because if you want to go by traditional stats, which a lot of older writers and pundits like to point to, is wins. Wins will get you through most of the time. That's why we have names such as Rick Porcello coming up. I mean, the one reason I'm so fascinated by this guy is because he just was dog crap for the past couple of years. We're talking about a guy who every other game would implode, and it was having Red Sox fans going to tizzy because, like, why did we sign this guy to an extension of like $82 million over 4 years?
Now he's doing his part.
And now he's doing his part. His ERA has dropped all the way. I mean, his ERA is pretty impressive. I mean, he got down to what, like 3.10s, 3.20, compared to what he's traditionally done, which is like high 3s to 4s. And when you have 22 wins on the season, that's something you can't shake off. But you also have to look at, that's a team behind him. That team of the Red Sox themselves, they bailed him out on a couple of wins with their power hitting, where he's given up 5 runs, but still he's gotten that win. But beyond him, I've got a couple interesting names. There's Corey Kluber. Corey Kluber, our old Cy Young man. He himself, he's not. His stats actually had a stadium. If you want to look at it that way, his stats have been really, really suppressed by his stadium numbers, and on the road it's been much better. But if we're talking about an even better pitcher, I mean, one name that I just love seeing back in there after all these years is Justin Verlander, baby. I mean, do you remember Justin Verlander?
Well. Yeah, he actually. I remember. First of all, he's amazing pitcher. He's signed to that big deal in Detroit, and what I remember about him now is like last year he had a terrible year. I think his year may have started off shaky, but it's good to see him back in action because it's always good to see players, back doing their part, contributing to their team. And his resurgence was a part of Detroit's almost making it to the postseason. He's also dating and gonna marry that bomb Kate Upton. But anyway,
yes.
But anyway, go ahead. Keep going on your. What do you have on him?
Well, I mean, okay, Justin Verlander, he had really seemed like that he had peaked at that point because his innings totals were just out of this world. And I'm talking about like innings totals. I'm talking about like that this guy was logging more than any other pitcher in the past 10 years combined. I mean, let's go back to 2011, his MVP year, 251 innings pitched. Before that, he had rattled off 4 straight seasons of 200 innings. I mean, if we had this on the Mets, like we would have no elbow problems. Get us their goddamn medic. I want their whole entire health system that they've got going over there in Detroit. But, I mean, beyond that, you had 2012. The guy, again, threw in 238 innings. 2013, 218. But that's where things started going bonkers for him. He went, in 2013, he had a 3.46 ERA. 2014, jumped all the way up to 4.54 ERA. Last year, he was in AAA, just getting himself nice and healthy, came back, and he wasn't that great. But he was still good towards the end of the season. This year, though, we got a 3.04 ERA, which I'm pretty sure is tops right now in the whole entire American League. And beyond that, you've got him leading the whole entire American League in strikeouts. And only 227 innings. This guy's K percentage right now. Oh, my God, his K's. Hold on, give me a second here. I'm trying to go through my notes.
Pull it up.
It's freaking me out, man. Nah, but I mean, his K percentage is K through 9, which is strikeouts per inning of 9, is 10.04, which is better than his MVP season. which I wouldn't think that I'd see those numbers. Plus, we've got the guy winning at this stage 16 games. So, I mean, 16 compared to 20 games, if you really want to look at the differences, like, yeah, I guess that's 4 more wins. But for a team that really needed someone to step up to the plate, especially in Detroit, where they had Jordan Zimmerman, who went down with injury, and you had Mike Fulmer, who you don't know exactly what you're getting out of this rookie, and you had Daniel Norris, another rookie. So Justin Verlander really, for his team, for that Cy Young, really pushed it forward. But beyond that, I mean, another couple of names that you could possibly bring up, it's Corey Kluber, Rick Porcello, Justin Verlander. Maybe you want to talk about Chris Sale or Masahiro Tanaka. But for me, I'm going to have to go with maybe Justin Verlander. But if not, Rick Porcello, I can see where you get that case.
I'm going for him, for Rick Porcello. But moving on now to the MVP. Now, here are my 2 picks, and I'll explain why I picked them. But the most important one, I don't know why I'm saying it's most important, but I guess there's a lot of controversy with this pick because I see people, well, I'm just going to say it, AL MVP Mike Trout. And there's a lot of people for some reason, first of all, he has the best numbers, okay? But there's a lot of people for some reason where if you're not contending, you shouldn't be an MVP, you know. For me, that's garbage. I know baseball's a team game, but if you're putting up the numbers, it doesn't matter if your team is under 500 or whatever. If you're putting up those numbers and you're still one of the best, if not the best in the league, you better, you don't rob him as MVP. Listen, the other guy is Mookie Betts, who, by the way, pop trivia, baby. I said trade Matt Harvey for Mookie Betts. People call me crazy. They might as well just hire me at the Mets. I said that 2 years ago. I said it 2 years ago. I said it last year. When the Mets were looking for a shortstop, guess what I said? I said trade Matt Harvey for Mookie Betts straight up. Everyone called me crazy. Might win the MVP, okay? You know what? You might even think I'm crazy, but he might win the MVP. I'm not saying that he's disqualified. I think that Mike Trout should win it, but I'll tell you this, Mookie Betts might win it. Imagine we trade Matt Harvey for Mookie Betts.
No,
and
there's no way they would have done it. There's no way.
But
there's
I'm
no
saying
way.
do it. I'm saying do it. I know that the Mets wouldn't have done it. I don't know. Maybe Boston would have done it. They were looking for a pitcher. Matt Harvey, they might have done it. I think they might have done it. I would have done it, and I would have been freaking... What do they call that? Administration of the year. GM of the year. Baby. That's what I would have done because I would have done it 2 years ago. And anybody who knows me personally knows I would have done it 2 years ago. And I would have made you look like suckers. Go ahead.
Oh, man. So after that, well, let's look at our MVPs here for the AL. I mean, I want to put a negative spin to what you say about with the teams. I completely agree that I don't give a crap about the teams, but I do care about what the team influence is what they do to these numbers of these players. For instance, a Mookie Betts, he gets strictly inflated every single one of his numbers. His runs scored, it's because he has a whole entire plethora of hitters behind him and in front of him for his RBIs and his steals because they don't want to be able to throw out of the stretch because they are afraid to have him run them and they don't want to have David Ortiz rock a bomb out there. So that's what allows this guy to pursue and do so much better than a Mike Trout, who is stuck in a lineup where he only has Albert Pujols. And what happens? Albert Pujols hits the most home runs he's had in 4 years.
So that just strengthens my case.
Yeah, because there's no one else there, so it shows you that Mike Trout, they were afraid to pitch to. And even then, the defensive metrics will show you that Mike Trout leads about, I think 3 wins above replacement compared to Mookie Betts.
I don't see how it's a conversation.
Defender. So Mike Trout, yes, 110% my AL MVP. Behind him, Mookie Betts. Number 3, Jose Altuve, who for 5 foot...
Oh, he's so good, too.
For 5'6", that guy hit 26 home runs,
man. That guy's
man.
amazing, and I'm glad we agree because, again, you should watch MLB Network. I don't know if you watch them, but there's debates. People, they go, oh, no, you can't give it to Mike Trout. I mean, look at Mookie Betts and all this stuff. Again, who's in the lineup with him? And again, just showing how weak the Angels are, showing how good Mike Trout is, I think it bumps his case up. And you know,
because when you're playing with that dearth of talent around you and you have nothing going for you and you're the only person that's carrying it, people might point to the fact that if you remove Mookie Betts, yes, that the Red Sox get removed from the playoffs because there's another player that will take him that's going to be average at best. But if you take Mike Trout out, that team is the worst team I've ever seen in my life. And so, yes, you might say it gets them to the playoffs, but I really don't think it would be as hampering as maybe as Mike Trout being lost.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's what it's going to be for my AL. What do you got going for the National League? Give me your top 3.
Well, listen, I'll tell you who's going to win it. I didn't think of a top 3, but per se, I mean, off the top of my head, But I will say I know who's going to win. And I mean, I hate the Cubs, but it's got to be Chris Bryant. I like his numbers. Great guy. It seems like the Cubs have not, picked a good one, should I say. I mean, it seems like him. Do you agree with me on that pick or no?
Well, then you're talking about the teams, how they've influenced the numbers.
Yeah,
all right?
I
See,
know
that's
how
the
this
problem.
goes.
That's the problem, how it
But
goes.
he still has the best numbers. That's the thing that gets me, is that he has the best numbers now.
Does he, though? Does he? That's my question, because there's another man out there who many
Really?
people might not be thinking about, Nolan Arenado of the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah.
Which heinous mistake before forgetting about him with the Walter Weiss administration. Think about that team. See how loaded that lineup is now, man? But let's take a look at Chris Bryant's numbers, how they compare to Nolan Arenado. Nolan Arenado is still a young gun himself. We always talk about how Chris Bryant's 24 years old. Nolan Arenado is 25 years old.
Yeah,
He is
just
the
a year older.
first person underneath the age of 26 years old to hit 40 home runs in back-to-back seasons.
He's one of the guys that makes Colorado, still known. If you're talking about Colorado, he's one of the guys you're talking about.
Oh, it's him, Carlos Gonzalez. Now it's Trevor Story, and you've got Corey Dickerson out there and Charlie Black.
But
this guy, though.
expand your case on this
But
guy.
let me tell you,
I'm
41
interested.
home runs, 133 RBIs. I think the next closest is probably Chris Bryant, who has, RBIs, 102 RBIs.
Yeah.
His batting average of
7.71.
.292 batting average, while we have Nolan Arenado at .294 batting average. So it really seems that the case comes down to here is, do we do it based upon if they made it to the postseason?
Oh.
Because that's what I'm confused. Because if you look at the numbers, they're eerily very, very similar.
They
I mean,
are. Who is
very,
the higher?
very similar.
Who has the highest on base?
The highest on base belongs to, Chris Bryant. But
Yeah.
that's because Chris Bryant, as we were talking about, he's got a lot of threats with him. I mean,
It's true.
the offenses actually are similar, but when you look, you've got Rizzo out there, who's another MVP candidate himself.
Yeah.
So, when you look at the two, I'm just...
Here's the
you have
thing,
to give to
they-
Chris Bryant, I guess, because, his defending might be... I don't know, their defending action on both of them is really superb. And it's funny because they both play the same position.
Yeah, well, they both play third base, and listen, I didn't think about him for some reason. I actually completely forgot about him.
I'd say that's the thing is with the postseason shuffle up, you just hear so much noise from ESPN
Not gonna
and all
lie.
them about the Cubs.
Not
the
gonna lie,
Cubs have
I
come
hate
to
the
save
Cubs. And
baseball.
like I said, I opened up with this before I said it. I hate the Cubs, but looking at it, and listen, just looking at it, it makes sense. Those are good numbers. I wish that David Wright would have those numbers someday or something, but no, or
Well, if you
Jose
want to talk
Reyes
about
at
another
this
Met,
point.
Daniel Murphy could be even in that conversation.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Though. I don't think so. But listen, we'll see. When are they giving out? I can't.
It's during the postseason. I'm pretty sure it's after the
Wild card game or
NLDS or the NLCS, in between there.
But we'll see who wins it. We'll see if our picks are right. If our picks are right, we're gonna go to the lottery or something and buy a ticket. If our picks are right, or maybe it's a no-brainer because maybe all of our picks are just right because these guys are just great. And we're speaking about the postseason now. We just sort of going. I want to shift it a little bit because the Mets have made it. And they're facing Madison Bumgarner, Noah Syndergaard versus Madison Bumgarner.
Can
at
you
Citi
can you
Field.
envision a better scenario? This is the storybook that we've always wanted?
Well,
man.
I can't
It's
envision-
like Game 7, but just one.
I can envision a better scenario if it was the Cardinals, Carlos Martinez or whatever.
No,
Because
you
I'm
think
scared
Carlos
of my
Martinez is better than Mad Bum? Oh no, I'm terrified of Mad Bum. I'm just saying
I'm
from a pure outside point of view, just loving the sport of baseball itself, and this
it's
pitching
great.
matchup.
Oh, it's great.
It's everything. It's Super Bowl Sunday right there.
It's gonna be huge. I'm so excited to watch the game. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm scared.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
scared.
I'm scared shitless
I'm
right
scared of. You want to know why? Madison, and you can make the case for this. Michael Conforto was never the same again after one game with Madison Bumgarner. After that game, he was done. He was done. He destroyed him. His stuff destroyed Michael Conforto. And the Mets
forgot
are
about
hitting
that.
Mad Bum. The Mets are hitting
They
Mad
are
Bum.
hitting him.
However, the guy destroyed.
He destroys the
The
league. He's
death.
got 2.56 ERA. Actually, I should have included him in my top 5
Yeah.
choice of Cy Young
Well,
contenders.
listen, all I'm saying is that he's a scary person in general to face.
And in
great
life.
stuff. And in the
He's
in
a
the
rabid
playoffs,
dog, that man.
in the playoffs, let's not forget, carried the Giants. The guy has scoliosis, man. I'm telling you, man, on his back. He's carrying them. He carried them. He could do it. And I'm not saying the Mets are hopeless or something. I'm just saying that I don't think we should just be underestimating Madison Bumgarner. Like, oh, we're in the wild card. Everyone take it. Everyone exhale. I say we exhale after Mad Bum because he's one of the best pitchers in the game. He definitely plays when it's time, when it's crunch time, when the time matters. Madison Bumgarner steps up, and let's not forget he's like a DH behind the plate.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see any softballs at this guy. I want Noah Syndergaard throwing it nasty
I
at
want
this
a high
guy.
heat right up close to the chin.
I
Give him
don't.
some chin
Yeah,
music
I
to throw
want
him
it.
up. I want him
Don't
rattled.
even back off because this guy. I'm not even kidding. Like. He will hit it out. He will hit it out. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. Madison Bumgarner possibly, it wasn't like today, but it was earlier episodes. Maybe he'd go to the home run derby. He could hit balls. It's crazy. It's scary. So you got to be careful with this guy. I'm telling you, I think the Mets will win the game. All the experts say they don't because obviously we've talked about it. Everyone is hating on the Mets. But I'll tell you this, they're going to win that game. But if they do, it's going to be like 2-0, 1-0. I mean, one mistake pitch. We might get one pitch all game. That's how crazy it is. You better execute it, baby, because if he's on, I'm scared, okay? And you know what? If the San Francisco Giants start playing fucking freeze tag on the bases with Noah Syndergaard, it's going to be ugly. So I would not exhale yet, Met fans. I'm happy. I'm just as happy. I know I don't sound happy, but I'm happy that we are in the playoffs. But I'm telling you right now, if Madison Bumgarner is on his stuff, it's going to be a long game, okay? It better be long, because if not, that means the Mets got shut out,
Oh, no,
okay?
it's going to go extra innings. I'm seeing 1-1 extra innings right now. Like
I'm
going
scared.
to the 11th inning and then Yoenis walk-off inning.
Now, listen, it's not like I'm not trying to discredit Syndergaard or something like, oh, yeah, the Giants should be freaking scared too. But I'm telling you
Syndergaard's
this.
not been invincible.
I'm telling you, I don't know why, but Madison Bumgarner in the postseason, we've seen it before. The world has seen it before. And I'm telling you, if he's on, the Mets better be on it. They better be on it. Who's going to be on that postseason roster? Who's ready to face Mad Bum, a lefty, the man who single-handedly destroyed Michael Conforto? Okay? Honestly, he was never the same. And I'm not saying Michael Conforto's career's over. I'm just saying, man, destroyed Michael Conforto. This was the guy that was in April invincible. Comes in to faces Madison Bumgarner. Maybe I'm overreacting. Literally destroys that kid's confidence. Literally destroyed it. We haven't seen the guy all year. Someone get that guy's face on top of a milk carton, for frick's sake. I mean, where was he after that game? Honestly, down in the minor leagues, coming in and out, I feel bad for him. I know he's going to have a future. I'm a believer in that kid. But boy, let me tell you something. Madison Bumgarner screwed him up. And I'm telling you right now, if he's on his stuff in the postseason game and the Mets lose that one wild card game, the season's a failure because it's World Series or bust, baby. Done. Mic drop. Okay? I'm telling you. It's scary. I see all these Met fans. I'm so happy that the Mets are in there, right? I'm thrilled. But this is one game. This is do or die. The pressure's on. World Series Game 7 on the first day. Turn up 0 to 100 real quick, baby. So you better be on it, especially at Mad Bum. I'm scared of Mad Bum. I'm scared. I'm a scared Mets fan, okay? I got my tail between my legs. I don't want to watch that game and Mad Bum's on. And then Syndergaard's, dude.
Well, the thing is,
I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm serious.
I am a little scared, but I'm more not scared of the fact that Madison Bumgarner, I'm not fearing that we won't be able to scrap up 1 run or 2 runs. That's all the Mets need to really get while he's in there. And then they can go after that crappy, horrendous bullpen that only has Hunter Strickland,
now
maybe even Sergio
the
Romo.
Only thing.
But that's why you need to start working deep into the counts, and that's one thing these Mets hitters can do. Yeah. That's one thing that I'm proud about them. But when you look at the opposite side of the plate,
you're calming me down.
Oh, no problem. See, this is the Mets therapy hour here, people. This is where we need to get Ace. So he gets it off his chest, and we start talking him down to earth. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Mets fans, get off that bridge. I'm going to tell you why. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I'm more terrified about the fact that Noah Syndergaard could be giving up a run. I don't know if he can implode. He could be giving up 8 hits in about 5 innings and giving up 3 runs. But I trust more in our starting lineup.
Yeah.
Our starting lineup right now, compared to the San Francisco Giants starting lineup, Yeah.
You know what?
We
You're
are
a godsend.
freaking
And you know
good,
what?
baby.
You know what? And this might just seem like, oh, he's crazy or whatever, and I am crazy. This is why I'm the host of the show. But I'll tell you this. You're calming me down because the Giants, not only with the bullpen struggles, but their lineup was struggling for a while. I don't know if they were struggling toward the end, but I remember they were struggling to score some runs, which is why they went on a really bad stretch. Obviously, one of the worst after the All-Star
Oh, wait,
break.
the Giants? Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a funny Kismet story of a yin and a yang, where the Mets were one of the most atrocious teams going into August. And then come August 20th, they turn into the best team in baseball with the best
crazy.
record, while the Giants just implode and burn, crashing to the ground like the Hindenburg.
Yeah.
And so now I just really
I like
want
that.
to – I just want to see right now, do they still have the guts to do this? And I don't think so, man. I don't think so. And coming into our house –
Yeah, our
It's
house,
Citi
baby.
I
Yeah.
can't wait. I'm going to be I'm doing standing room only. I'm going to be there, and we are going to be rumbling and a rocking. The energy
Wait, you're
is
gonna
going to
be
be.
there or no?
Oh, yeah, I am. It's going to
Holy
be
crap,
chaotic.
You're going to be there.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Love it.
Like, you're going to see some crazy, crazy shit.
I'm just-
Trust me, people out there.
All I'm saying is that, this game, I believe in the Mets. I do. I believe in it. Despite
Yeah,
that
but-
whole dysphoria that I just laid, you would think the world is ending. But I do believe in it. I'm just saying that, there are some Met fans that I've seen already who are like, yo, we're in. We're in. Cespedes, all these guys, they better be on it. Because, remember, Cespedes was cold during the playoffs last year. Maybe, I'm not saying he's going to be cold again. I'm just saying if he's hot this year, if Bruce stays hot, who got hot. Finally, he got hot.
No more bust. No more bust.
No more Jay Buss. He finally got hot. I mean, if our lineup is good, I think it just comes down to who's going to be hitting.
No, and
Who's
that's it.
hitting?
That's what the Mets are doing right now,
Yeah.
is that they are freaking hitting. And
Yeah.
that's what they
As
did
Ruben
last year.
Cabrera has been
It's
a
the right
godsend.
time to turn on the afterburners. And right now, you're just breaking through the atmosphere. Time to go to outer space and fly high, baby. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And I mean, we get to see this. Even Lucas Duda hasn't been too shabby coming back, which I think they're actually going to be starting him tomorrow night against a
Now,
lefty.
that's something I wanted to bring up because obviously Mad Bum, lefty, all that stuff. Is it Duda? Is it Loney?
Oh, no,
it's
Duda.
Is it, ready for my wild card? Eric Campbell? Who is it? Is it Kerry Johnson? I heard Eric Campbell's name out there. Not even kidding.
No, he's going to be the right-handed bat off the bench that
Oh,
they're going to be using. Just
okay.
Just in case. But that is a sickening bat off the
Yeah.
bench.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God. I'd
But
rather bring the
anyway,
corpse of David Wright back in there to try it.
Honestly, this is gonna be wild. Nick, you got to tell me how it is. Like when you got to text me or something when you're there.
Oh,
I
yeah,
bet
dude.
you it's
I'm
gonna
gonna send
be
you a video of what's
vibrating.
going on.
It's got to be vibrating over
Oh,
there.
the
It's gonna
energy,
be
like the
vibrating.
screams that's going throughout, like I guarantee they're going to hear us over down in New Jersey from there.
I hope so. I want to hear them from here. I want you guys to hear it on air. That's what I really
That would be
want.
beautiful.
I want that
Maybe
to
I can
be,
bring I'll bring some recordings. man.
Listen, I am so excited to see it. So, do you know the time of it or no?
The time of the game, our games all season have been about 7:15 starting time, first pitch. My
So-
guess is this time it'll probably be
like-
closer to 8 o'clock.
Yeah, because that's prime time. And, we're going to talk about more of that stuff and, all that stuff over the break. But I definitely want to keep talking about the Mets and the wild card. And also, after the break, I really want to get into the AL wild card game because we haven't talked about that. But we'll be back with all your baseball coverage and more. So...
A museum is the best place to time travel. Make your next trip easier by joining the Gold Coast Library Museum Pass program. As a member, you can borrow a free admission pass for your family to local museums like the Cradle of Aviation Museum, the Long Island Children's Museum, and more. For more info, call 516-759-8300 or visit goldcoastlibrary.org. The Community Calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
Yes, it's Enjoy Life, Mondays at 11 with me, your joyologist, Naomi Joy. Here our guests reveal how they are bringing new pleasures, passions, and fun into their later years. You can, too. Enjoy Life, Mondays at 11.
Only on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
Still stuck in the 20th century with snail mail? Make a giant leap and join the Sharper Training Solutions hands-on demo class on how to send, receive, and forward emails. It's on Tuesday, October 18th at 2 p.m. in the Plainview Old Bethpage Public Library. For more info, call 516-938-0077 or visit POBLIB.org. The community calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
You're listening to Ace at the Plate on WCWPSports.org.
All right, Doug. So we were talking about Citi Field and all this stuff, but Mets are facing the Giants on the 5th around, is it the 5th? Yeah, 5th. The 5th. So that's Wednesday, right?
Yes, sir.
Wow. That's going to be crazy. You're going to be there.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be there in the flesh.
So
Yes, sir.
Are you standing?
Oh, I'm standing the whole
Where
time.
are you standing?
I think
I'm going
to go maybe by the bridge. I don't know. I think I'm going to go by the bridge so
They
I can
didn't
get
tell you an area, right? Because
Oh,
I've
no,
never...
there's no designated area. Just that you can just stand wherever the heck you want. But it's just like you have to be in like the rotunda somewhere
Now,
around
if you don't
there.
mind, do you mind giving us a quote? How much did you pay for these bad boys?
I got ahead of the game, so at the time it was only $85.
All right,
So I'm
you're
not
paying
too shabby.
$85 to stand. Hey, listen,
Hey.
you're gonna witness history.
That's the thing. You got to witness history, and you got to believe. Like, I mean, for this team, like, I just want to see the Mets go in there, put down that rabid, mad dog that they've got throwing out there for the Giants, who's frothing out his mouth, waiting for these big moments. I just want to see them crush that spirit and that soul of the Giants. But I don't know. I mean, I'm still afraid though. I mean, going in person, like I don't know if I can feel that rejection, man. That's like having your like middle school crush, like just completely shooting you down, man.
Have you been to a playoff game before? Or
Yeah,
is this it?
2000 was the last time I went.
Now,
and then
see, I
2000,
can't
no,
even remember
2006
that.
actually, I forgot about that.
Okay,
yeah.
well, 2000, I was 4 years old, so like you're older than me. But anyway, how was it? Do you remember? It was
2000, I was
Shea
really young.
Stadium.
I was like 7 years old. So, I mean, I just remember just like taking the whole entire ecstasy of the crowd, where this energy was coming around, and it was phenomenal. But then 06, I was there at the end.
At that game.
At that end.
You were there at that
I don't
game.
even want to discuss
Strike
it. It's
three.
just-
Strike caught looking.
Oh,
you know?
my God, by that dirtbag. We won't even say AW's name.
We're not
but
going to even say
I'm just going
it.
to say
We're
his
not gonna-
initials are AW.
Yeah,
And he's
not
got a
gonna-
sick
not
curveball, but
even
he
gonna
got shelled
say
this
it.
year, which was phenomenal.
And,
But
listen, they're not in the playoffs, so
I know,
for the
but-
first time in like forever.
Which is great. I'm just
Yeah.
so happy not to see
It's
it. I
great.
mean,
I love
we were
to see-
discussing that during the break, actually. Who would we rather face? And we've been flip-flopping back and forth. And I like to feast on this weak Giants team, but I'm still terrified like you that it's an even year, and this is
Yeah.
the Giants.
Let me just tell you something also that is, interesting and stuff, is that it's great to see other teams that are in the playoffs that are not the Cardinals, the regular teams. I know that we're seeing the same old teams, like the Dodgers make it. It almost seems like every year now that the Dodgers make it and stuff. But it's great to see a team like Baltimore make it. They've been out. Well, they weren't in 2014. But, other teams like the Indians be in it.
Oh, I love that. I want
Yeah.
Terry Francona for Manager of the Year.
Yeah, and listen, we're going to see in the postseason. They're my AL team, by the way. Do you have an AL
Oh,
team?
no, they are the AL version of the Mets. They are raked by injuries right now to their star pitchers, Carlos Carrasco and Danny Salazar, who could be put up against anyone in the whole entire major leagues to be able to face off against them. And you've got Corey Kluber you're throwing out there, former Cy Young winner. This is a team that I feel so much like the Mets. And I mean, just their starting lineup is nothing that's like even outside this world. I mean, you got Mike Napoli who's coming back, who is like was last year written off as just basically dead and done in the league. But this year, the guy's going through his whole entire thumping the ball out of the park. And you look up and down that whole entire lineup, and you just know that Terry Francona, that manager, which it's very hard to measure what a manager can do for a team because you can look at how they manage the switches up on the bench, how they do relievers, when to take out their starters, and how to set the lineup. But I truly believe that there is something going on with Terry Francona, that he has brought this team back into this.
Yeah, you know what? It's great for the Indians. It's great for baseball because it's not like, oh yeah, well the Indians fans finally get their time. It's just that more teams are in it. It's more, it makes it fresh. It makes it's happy to see. It's like the Mets. It's happy to see the Mets in there. A team that I know that they were in it last year, but they weren't in it since 2006. They haven't won it since 1986, which 30 years, my friend. 30
Yeah.
years. So how cool would it be if the Mets won on the 30th anniversary? So that's cool.
Hey, I mean, if the Royals
Let's
can
get
do,
Keith
if the Royals can do
Hernandez
it,
back.
we can, let's get Keith back in the dugout.
No, let's get Keith Hernandez. I just want to see Keith Hernandez with like the champagne and everything.
Him just partying up with the team. It's just the ghost of Keith Hernandez.
Could I see
goes
that?
there.
I want to see that. That would be crazy. But listen, I'm excited. What more could I say? And while we're on the topic of all that stuff, we talked about the NL, but let's talk about the AL for a little bit. Their wild card is the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Baltimore Orioles, and I imagine. Well, first of all, I know a Blue Jays fan. I don't know if you've ever met a Blue Jays fan.
That's very
he
rare.
goes
That's
here.
a rare Pokemon.
He
right
goes
there.
here, actually.
Really?
I know him. His name is Andrew Taylor. And he's actually in one of my classes. Giant. Wears a Tulo jersey almost every day.
Really?
Wears
A Tulo jersey. Of all the jerseys on the team between Donaldson and Encarnacion and you.
Tulo. The day that Blue Jays got him last year, you should have seen him. Walked in, Tulo jersey already on his back. So, I don't know. Listen, giant Blue Jays fan. He's like, hey, both of our teams made it. I saw him today. He said, both of our teams made it. I said, I know. And thinking about him, so I know he's going to be watching. But who do you got on that team? The O's or the Jays?
I mean, it really, when you start thinking about it, it comes down to the starting pitching, which hasn't been exactly either team's strong suit.
Yeah, I know.
If we really want to get down to the bread and butter.
Who is it? What's his name again? Starts with an M that the Jays are throwing out. I forget. Is it M?
Well, it's not sure who the Blue Jays are throwing out right now because Marcus
okay.
Stroman was the guy you're thinking of.
Yeah,
He's a nice young guy, but
is he out?
His ERA hasn't been the best. But there's another guy who's Aaron Sanchez, who's 23, 24 years old, but he's already reached his innings maxed. And so they're really wary about throwing him out there. But, hey, guys, it's the postseason.
Yeah.
It's boom or bust
You
right
can't.
now.
You know
right?
what? You can't do what the Nationals did with Strasburg, where you send them out for the playoffs, and they're like, "Oh, you know what they said?
Much to our
they said
happiness,
we'll be
we
back.
have this shit-eating
We'll
grin
be
right
back,
now about
right?
this. We're smiling away thinking about it.
They said we'll be back. There's more chances. You can't take a postseason chance for granted. I say throw the young guy out there. And what about I know nothing about those teams. The only thing I know about is that the Jays have Bautista and Tulo. I don't know about their pitching.
Their pitching. Okay, at the end of their at the end of their bullpen, they have a kid named Roberto Ozuna, who is 22 years old, and he has been one of the best closers in baseball. I'm talking about like top 7 right here at least. Elite strikeout rates. And beyond that, man, I mean, they did have Joaquin Benoit. Remember him? He was a closer for a little bit for the San Diego Padres, was on the Seattle Mariners. He got traded over to them. In 27 innings, the guy pitched to a .36 ERA.
Wow.
That's pretty good, right?
That's pretty good.
But you know what happens this past week? Oh, wait, let's get into a scrum with the Yankees, and he's running out of the bullpen, and what happens? He tears his calf muscle. He tears it, and now he's out of the postseason. Now, you want to talk about fights and how they can cost you? Those scumbag Yankees back at it.
That's crazy. So do you got J's or O's?
Well, the offenses are eerily similar.
See, offenses, Mark Trumbo on the O's.
Oh, Trumbo.
Watch out. He's dangerous.
Trumb bombs away. I guarantee we hit at least one.
What a signing for them.
Oh, yeah. And then on the
What's
rest.
this other guy?
You've got Adam Jones on there who's like, he's been constantly overrated, but you know what? He's still a good, solid baseball player.
And what's that other guy they signed? I forget his name. It's on the tip of my freaking thing.
Not Chris Davis, but Chris Davis is pretty good, but he's had a falling back year right now. He can hit it out.
They signed a huge dude. Maybe it was him. I can't.
But then Manny Machado at third base, 24 years old. This kid, he should be in the MVP conversation.
That's what I was just about to say. Wasn't he like sort of?
He had 36 home runs. He has hit the most doubles, I think, for anyone below the age of 25 or something like that. This kid can flat out rake. But beyond him, you've got Jonathan Scope at second base, and I mean, yeah, I can see them keeping up with the power. And the Blue Jays haven't really been lighting the world on fire towards the end. They've been slumping and falling back down to earth where they were leading. I mean, the Orioles for the first 111 days of the season were leading in first place.
Well, weren't they in the first place for
yes,
most
and
of
they
the
were.
year?
And then
they got swept by the Yankees.
They got swept by the Yankees, and then the Red Sox go on an 11-game winning streak and completely shut them down. So what are we looking at here? We might have an equal pitching staff because, I mean, well, actually, no, that's very untrue. Because, I mean, when you're looking at the Orioles,
for the O's?
The O's, it's going to be either Baldo Jimenez, who actually over his past 11 starts has a 2.82 ERA, which is very respectable compared to his 7.3 something ERA that he was posting the first half of the year.
Okay.
So he's at least coming back to like some reality. And this is a guy that we know from a few years back, even with the Rockies, as we were talking about before. Even when he was with the Rockies, this guy was lighting the world on fire. But beyond him, you've got Chris Tillman, who's not been too bad, and Dylan Bundy, a nice young guy who was supposed to be a top prospect, trying to develop, but hasn't really been there. But then what does this come down to? Maybe it's a battle of the bullpens. Because as we mentioned, Roberto Ozuna, there's this guy, Zach Britton, the closer of the Orioles, who some people actually want to put him in the Cy Young conversation.
Wow.
Because he is 47 for 47 in save opportunities right now. His ERA sits, I think, in the sixes, or maybe like it's definitely under 1. And we haven't seen an under 1 ERA since Wade Davis, and there's like one other, like maybe Craig Kimbrell at one point.
Yeah.
But beyond that, just take your pick. I mean, this is the
That's
easiest.
actually a flip a coin.
This is the closest flip a coin you could possibly get for me.
You know what? I'm going to flip the coin on the Jays only because I know that guy. So I'm going to flip the coin because it's that even. Here, actually getting into that, here's the whole thing. Right now. It's going to be Mets, Giants. Mets will win that. Then it's going to be Nationals, Dodgers. Dodgers will win that. And so then you have an NLCS of those two teams, the Mets and the Dodgers. Then the Mets will win that. I'm biased.
Well, the Mets might win against the Cubs because the Cubs, like their starting rotation's been like, they've been limping to the finish line. But I don't know if that's because they've taken out their normal regulars from being their defensive stalwarts. But still, it just I've got a good feeling about this. And this isn't just your delusional, optimistic Met fan over here who's been drinking too much of the Kool-Aid, all right?
No,
We've got great options.
Here's what I'm saying. So you have, again, the Dodgers, I don't believe in them. They're going to beat the Nationals, though, for sure. And then, then you have the Mets facing the Cubs, and then I definitely think the Mets will beat the Cubs. That's wildly disputed, but I 100,000% believe that if we get past Mad Bum, we will beat the Cubs. I'm not afraid of it. I don't care. I don't care who they have.
Yeah, this is our test.
This is our
true
I
test.
think Mad Bum is honestly our test. Then you got the Cubs. I think the Mets will beat that. And so then it would be Mets-Dodgers, NLCS. And I just think the Mets will beat the Dodgers. And then, I know this is completely crazy, but then the Mets will be the World Series. And I think they'll win the World Series. But anyway, I'll get to my AL. So you have like the Jays, and then you have like, I don't even know. Like, honestly, I don't know those teams. To be honest.
Okay, I'll tell you. Wild card, you've got the Orioles versus the Jays. Then in the AL East, you've got the Red Sox.
Versus who?
Then in the Central, you've got the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
Then in the West, who actually
who
have
are the
best.
Indians facing the Red Sox?
No, the Indians will be playing against
Texas.
The Texas Rangers, I believe.
Okay, so the Indians will beat Texas. So the Red Sox have the best in the league?
Yeah, actually, I think at this point it's the Indians versus. No, it's the Indians versus. No, the best record actually is the Texas Rangers. They have the best record.
So it's going to be the
on a year on the
wild
back
card
of
team.
Adrian Beltre.
Wow! Oh, if the Jays win, that's going to be funny because they're going to be facing their old, their nemesis, their old fighting buddies.
Yep, exactly. So we got.
I
would love to see the Blue Jays.
Now we're rooting
Jays.
for the Blue Jays, and then, man, Texas will beat the Blue Jays, and then you have the Red Sox versus Indians, which I'm going to go with the Indians. Then Red Sox versus Texas for the NLCS.
You're talking about the Indians versus the Rangers because the Red Sox don't have that deep.
I'm sorry.
Rotation.
I completely brain fart. Like it's confusing.
It's all good.
So I have the Indians versus Rangers NLCS. Indians win. Indians go to the World Series, crushing defeat by the New York Mets. And we will be champions!
30 years in the making, baby. That's what it's coming down to. But I need to ask you one question. I know it's somber to think of. We never want to think it. But just in that one sort of 0.1% chance the Mets don't make it past the wild card, what are you rooting for as in the World Series? What would you like to see?
I want the Indians to
against
win the
who in the National League?
Against the Dodgers.
Because
I hate the Nationals and I hate the Cubs and I don't want them going anywhere far. I don't want them going anywhere near the World Series. And then at that case, I'll go, I'll go Dodgers because then I just don't want the Giants to win because they just beat the Mets. But if it's like, here's the thing. It's like this weird thing. Like if the Giants now like, let's just say the NLCS is like Giants Nationals, then I'll go for the Giants because I hate the Nationals.
Right? It's the worst of two evils,
if it's
right?
Giants Cubs, I'll root for the Giants still. I have a personal hatred for the Cubs only because I hate how MLB Network just literally blows them all the time. I'm literally wearing, for my birthday, I bought this ring, and I don't know if we talked about it on the show.
No, not yet.
But I'm wearing it right now. It is a replica Mets 2015 National League Championship ring, and they go, why don't you just wait till they win the World Series? Because I hate the Cubs. The Mets swept the Cubs that series. So you know what? I do hate the Cubs. I'm wearing it fine. I think it looks pretty good.
It's gorgeous. Like that thing, if you get to a Rumble, you could definitely leave a tattoo of the Mets symbol on someone's head.
You know what? Guess what? This ring was only, how much? Did I tell you how much with the ring?
No.
How much do you think it is?
Look at that. Like, I'm going to go with like $120.
$30.
$30.
Guess where?
Here, people. You got a deal of the century right now.
Guess where, too? China. Dude, I'm telling you.
China.
I'm telling you, dude. China. I'm telling you, Donald Trump, China. All right? That is where I got it. Took a month to get here. I ordered it on September 10th, and it got here on October 3rd. So it took a little under a month, but I'm telling you,
just in time for the Mets to finally get to that NLDS.
I'm not going to wear this thing like every day or something, but I'm going to wear this thing whenever, like, I'm going to go down in the end zone because that's where I'm going to watch the playoff game because they're going to have it in the end zone. By the way, I'm not trying to throw out, we're not paid by them or something, but they're going to have free food at the end zone during all the playoff games, and that includes the Super Bowl and stuff. So this is not new. Like, they always have it for the Super Bowl. They had it for the playoffs last year. So, and the Mets were in it the whole time, so it was a lot of free nachos. So get to the end zone for the wild card game. There should be free nachos this year, and if there's not, I'm writing a letter to the freaking superintendent or whoever it is and say, what the hell happened?
It's that bias against the Mets again, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'll tell you. But listen, it was great to do that. I don't know. You're going to be there. I might see you on TV. I'm going to watch you.
I'm going to be that guy. You'll see. Trust me.
You know how like they show the fans? Are you really gonna be on TV? I would love to see.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna be going all out there. I just hope I don't get kicked out for my whole entire enthusiasm. I mean, that's a
I'm just telling you right now, and God forbid this happens, but I'm telling you right now. I remember in the World Series when the Mets started to sort of collapse in that final game.
Yeah.
Like after Harvey was letting go all that stuff, and Citi Field got dead quiet. Citi Field was like a pen drop. So it could be loud, it could vibrate, but I'm telling you right now, if Mad Bum's on and everyone's striking out, I'm telling you now, it's going to be quiet. You'll get a pen drop.
No, what's going to happen this Wednesday, people? We're putting down that deranged dog known as Mad Bum. As he froths at the mouth, we are just going to be knocking him silly with our bats scorching. You hear it echoing off the walls and the voices reverberating through the whole stadium that the Mets... They're going to be crushing this guy. I'm going a Noah Syndergaard home run off.
Here's what I'm saying why the Mets are going to crush this guy. Number one, the numbers for the year, besides Michael Conforto, has been pretty good. I mean, like you said before in an earlier episode of the show, that the Mets beat up Mad Bum, I think, a few times this year. And if not, there's just that Mets magic that no other team has. You know, like the Mets just have it. And even if their team is not best on paper, the team that's best on paper never wins at all. And I truly believe that right now, despite everything that's happened, it's a testament that the Mets are still in this thing. And you know what? I think the fact that they're still in this thing just shows they're that good. They would have been so much better, but they're still that good that they were able to make it in this. And I just think they could take Mad Bum in the playoffs, and you could do it. You could do it. The Royals couldn't do it. And guess what? The Royals beat the Mets. So if the Mets could do it, then you're in. So, listen, I believe. I think it's going to be a great series. Win or lose, though, I'm grateful for this year, but lose, I'm going to be really upset.
And we're also very grateful for our listeners. Thank you for joining us for this whole season.
It's not over.
Spring training, but it's not over.
It's not over.
Because
don't forget, after the whole postseason, man, we got those winter meetings. But even after that, you know that gap in between the winter meetings? I got stuff planned for that. We got all this stuff to talk about, like speculation deals and everything like that. We can analyze teams. You know, don't get your hot cocoa. sit by the fire and pop us on, and you might have to turn me down because I'm going to be screaming. Because if the Mets don't sign Cespedes, you'll hear me scream. Okay?
Oh, the passion never dies here.
Yeah,
That's the one thing you'll see. The fire rumbles on in our stomachs, and together we shall lead into a whole entire new generation of Mets victories here.
So when we come back, the wild card game will be played. It will either be, the next episode will either be
somber
a very somber Jose Fernandez mood, like it's over, or we're going and we're previewing the next series.
Let's go, baby.
Let's do it. I believe, and you know what? We will see you next week.
Let's go, Mets.
Let's go, Mets.
The secret to good writing is to write, and keep on writing. Find out some more valuable writing secrets at the Writers Group. If you're a serious writer, come down for a lively exchange of ideas on the first Saturday of each month at the Glen Cove Public Library. For more info, call 516-676-2130 or visit glencovelibrary.org. The Community Calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
Do you find that talking to yourself is more interesting than what you're hearing on the air? Is talk radio becoming motivation for a nap? Do you love to listen but can't stand the words? Well, we can change all that. To hear compelling interviews, relevant topics, and interesting personalities, just tune in to our community of conversation. WCWP talks to your community weekday mornings from 10 till noon on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
Keep calm. You may already have high blood pressure. Relax and find out with the free blood pressure screening available the second Wednesday of every month at 12 noon in the Westbury Memorial Public Library. For more info, call 516-333-0176 or visit westburylibrary.org. The Community Calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
This is WCWP Sports Talk, Brookville, New York.